everyone, it's Cindy. Welcome back to Studioloo. I'm here today for day number 6 of Junk Journal July. You can learn more about Junk Journal July down below in the description box. So today we're doing layers on layers. And I'm working right now on a tree theme journal, and I want to do a waterfall card, which is essentially an interactive layered waterfall of basically journal cards. So I want to make one today that is 8 layers, and these are the images that I want to use, all of these trees. Okay, so there's 8 of them in total, at least I think so. Let me actually double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, yes, 8. Okay, so what I need to do, I think these are just about inches. They're like 3 3/4 wide, I think. A little over that. I probably should cut them to exactly 3 3/4 because I need to have a decent measurement. Everything needs to be the same size for this to work properly. So what I'll do, I'll cut these all down to 3 3/4, and then I'm also going to cut a strip of cardstock that is 3 3/4 that will match exactly the size of the card. So I'll finish that and come right back. Okay, so I've got all of these trimmed now to the 3 3/4. You probably would want to use a more round number like 4 or 6 or whatever, and this is also 3 3/4. So what I now need to do is, this is much longer than obviously my card, so what you have to do now is, if you're using, I'm using 8 cards, so I need to make 8 score lines. So the score lines all have to be 1/2 inch in depth. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So that's 8 score lines, all 1/2 inch apart. So now we're going to fold and burnish each of these score lines. Just one at a time. And the last one. Now we can begin to build our waterfall. So to do that, you're going to fold forward your first flap, and this is where we're going to glue. We'll get our first image here, and you want to just make sure that you align it both to the top and on the sides to make sure that it's, fully aligned, so that you don't have a crooked waterfall. And in between each one, just go ahead and smooth it out, burnish it out again. It'll also squeeze out any excess glue that you don't need, right? And then we're going to fold down the next one. And again, we glue. Just as you go along, make sure you're aligning these with the top as well as with one another so that everything stays nice and neat. a little tiny bit fiddly, but not too bad. Make sure that's down, and it is, okay. And then the third one. I'll do one more here just to show you, and then I will probably just finish the rest of these up and then come back to you to show you the next stage here. Just again, giving it a little wiggle. We got a little bit of time with the art glitter glue, not a lot of time, but a little bit. So just align that down. Check your sides, make sure you're good. We are. Okay. All right, I'll finish the rest of these. We have to do the same thing for all 8 score lines, okay? All right, so now all of these are attached and you have a scrolling waterfall. I completely didn't hit the button as I was showing you that I was adding little bits of gilding wax to the edges of the images, but they're there. It's there, so we have this. So now what I'm going to do is just open it up and just kind of burnish the back, making sure that like all the glue has all spread out everywhere. And I'll do the same at the front. It's just going to, you know, lay everything down how I want it to lie down. And just double checking that my sides look well lined up, and they do, we're good. Okay, so now what we want to do is from the lowest of these flaps, we need this to be trimmed down to 1 inch below it. So just kind of pull this in here and like line that up with the edge of the trimmer there and just see, okay, how much space we have. Okay, I'll go this way actually. So just line this up at the 1 inch point here. And then we'll press everything up and we're just going to trim a tiny little bit. I actually kind of measured this pretty close. Just make sure we're straight here. It's a little trickier with the hole. There we go. Yep, looks good. Okay. So we'll trim that off, and now we're 1 inch longer than the bottom, the lowest flap. So now I need another 1 inch piece that also needs to be 1 inch longer than this. So let's just measure what we have here. This is 4.5, so we need this to be 5.5 inches wide, so 1 by 5.5. So I'm just going to cut this to just straighten it out, just in case we're not straight. So 1 inch again, by 5.5. Oh, I might need to do this on the big trimmer. Yeah, I do. Okay, hold on. Bringing in the big guns. Hold on. I don't think that'll be long enough anyways. Yeah, it's a little short. Okay, so let's double check the measurements on this big trimmer to make my life a little easier anyhow. Okay, so yeah, 3.5, just over 3.5. So we're gonna go to 4. Yeah, right there. Okay, 1 inch wider. So like 4.5 plus one little, the next line basically. So if the width of this is 3.5, the width of this is 4.5. Okay. My measurements for this project were a little crazy because I didn't I didn't do a prototype. I'm just kind of winging this as I go. And I don't make these very often. Okay, so there's that. And now I have to get my signature in my journal that I'm going to put this on. Okay, so I've got my page that I want to put this on, and I've just laid it on there where I want it to be. And then I've got my strip that is 1 inch wider than this. So let's just lay this down. And then I'm going to put the waterfall on like where I want it to be, right? And I've got the strip here. And it's going to go under the bottom flap, right about there. Just kind of lined up with that bottom flap. And then what you're going to do is you're going to glue this down, not to the actual waterfall piece, so not to this. You're going to put it in between here, and you're going to glue it to the background. So that's why you have that excess on the side there to glue this down. It's going to be like a belt over top of the back piece of your waterfall. So we'll glue this down. Side one, and I just kind of flip up the edge a little so that I get it on there without getting it on the waterfall. Flip it down and just press it and let it glue. Now pull this out, and now you've got that belt there. Okay, so see, this will slide right back in here and it will be unfettered. You don't want it to be gluey when it's coming in and out, but you want it to be relatively easy to pull. Okay, so just like that. Okay, so now we can go ahead and just flip this up, and then here on this bridge, on this strip, but not on the waterfall itself, you just go ahead and add glue to the top of the bridge, but don't get any on the waterfall, just on the bridge, or belt, or whatever you want to call it. And then you're going to bring your whole waterfall down, and you're going to be gluing the bottom flap to the belt. Okay, so that is now effectively glued down. Okay, so then just let this dry. This back card is now fully attached. So then once it's dry, you're going to be able to then grab this brown bottom piece here, and when you pull it, you're going to get that waterfall effect. So you've got all that there, and you can use the back side of all of these as journal cards if you want to. I don't know if you even want to, because it's just fun to play with. You could also write on here. So just some options, something fun to do. I honestly always find these to be a really fun, kind of relatively easy, interactive thing to put into a journal. So that is your simple waterfall. So thank you for joining me today. What I recommend is, after you've done this too, is just go in and just burnish a little more. You can always, just make this operate nicer just by kind of burnishing it down. When you're gluing paper, it can kind of wrinkle or cause it to pop up a little. So just go ahead and burnish it all down more, and you'll find that it will operate even smoother as it's used. So that's it for me for today. I will be back tomorrow with something else for Junk Journal July. I hope you are well, and we will talk again soon. Bye for now.